to have you all as a part of the series premiere of the BuyBlackMizzou Meetup. We are honored to have you as a part of this experience. So thank you so much for your time, effort, and energy. We know that sometimes you all can have screen fatigue, whether you're working out on your cell phone, and maybe even you all have had the dreaded iPhone update that lets you know about your screen time and saying that you have too much going on there. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that we are making sure that this is engaging and interactive, and making sure that if you're going to spend an additional hour on the screen, that is worth every single moment that you put into it. So we want this to be interactive. And how are we going to make that interactive? We have you using all of the screens, all of the buttons on the bottom of your screen. So if you see, of course, the reactions, we want you to be able to use those elements to be able to clap for people, cheer for them, or thumbs up if you have that. For the Q&A portion, we want you all to make sure that you are typing in your questions where all of the panelists, as well as myself, can see them. And if we don't get to answer your question during this event, then our panelists are going to be looking in the questions and providing their answers on the side to you specifically to make sure that we're incorporating you all. So definitely make sure that you're using the Q&A feature throughout the whole entire program, and we'll make sure that we are monitoring that. And then, of course, there's the chat feature. We want to make sure that you are using the chat feature to stay engaged, and we incentivize that a little bit, and we'll share how that's going to happen in a moment. But just to get the fingers warmed up, if you all can put in the chat right now where you all are from, where you're tuning into the series premiere of the BuyBlackMizzou Meetup, and if you are someone who is on the campus of Mizzou, then we want you to just share your major. So let us know where you're from, just so that we can make sure that the chat is working, that you all are engaged, and we're having that going. We already see our first question coming up there. So actually, this is why we're having this. It says the chat is disabled. So we're going to make sure that we get the chat, the chat enabled and the Q&A enabled. Chat should be working now, so we have that going. So again, if you can type in the chat just to make sure that we are together, if you can say where you are tuning in from, and if you're tuning in from the University of Missouri, maybe just let us know, what your major is. If you're part of the staff, just let us know just to make sure that we have that going. So please use the chat, the Q&A feature. Let's make this as interactive as possible. And while we're seeing those answers come in, I'll just introduce a little bit about what we are tuning into. So whether you use Netflix or Hulu or whatever your platform is, we give you the remote control to be able to go back in and to be able to engage. So think of that as this. This is called the #BuyBlackMizzou Meetup, and it is presented by the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation for the University of Missouri School of Business, from Noir Mizzou, which got its notoriety from homecoming programming for people of color at the University of Missouri, the Mizzou Black Alumni Network, which of course highlights the Black alumni at the University of Missouri, and Mr. Suitable, motivational men's accessories line of ties, tie bars, socks, and more, which I happen to be the founder of, and I'm wearing a little bit of today to make sure that that's in there. So we're excited to have you all here, no matter how you got here. Thank you for being here, and we believe that you're here for a reason. So whether you are already an entrepreneur, whether you're thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, thinking that entrepreneurship is not for you, knowing that you don't want to be an entrepreneur, but you'll end up supporting one, or whether it's your first time hearing the word entrepreneur, we want to make sure that we're coming across from all perspectives, and there's something for you here because we're all a community. So entrepreneur concepts can be applied anywhere in life. It's important to realize that a brand is much more than a logo or a slogan. A brand is your company. It's who you are, how you function, and how you make decisions. And that's a quote from the co-founder of Hop, Skip, Drive. And that just shows you that it's more than just the names that you see, the brands that you wear. And what we really want to dive into for these entrepreneurs are what is behind them and not just what you see in front of you. So our way to make it interactive is by making sure that whether we have them here or whether they're unable to be here, that they're represented. So we have a couple of founders that we are going to have virtually today that we are going to play a video of in what we're calling the virtual marketplace. So that way they can present their businesses to you, even though they're not here, to make sure that we're spreading as many names on that list of 100 plus Black business owners on the Buy Black Mizzou list as possible. So if we can roll the video, we'll get our first introduction from people on the list from this virtual marketplace.
My name is Lysandra Campbell from the class of 2013. You can follow my website at lysandrajanae.com, also on Instagram and Twitter at lysandrajanae. I am joining y'all from New York City, but originally from Kansas City, Missouri. I am a storyteller, editor, and the creator of Social Soundtrack, which is a brand dedicated to community, storytelling, and healing across the African diaspora. We do this primarily through gatherings and events, workshops, as well as our publication, and through just resources and playlist curation. And so the reason I started Social Soundtrack, I'm a firm believer that the ability for a community to thrive is closely tied to the narratives about that community, the stories about that community, and who gets to control those narratives. And I believe for more than 400 years that Black folks in this country, we have consistently and creatively told our stories and controlled our narratives through the creative arts, through music, through theater, through literature and writing. And so that is what Social Soundtrack is about. It's about dignifying Black life, amplifying Black creativity, and cultivating Black joy. And so another way you can support Social Soundtrack is by checking out our apparel, Justice and Joy. I have sweatshirts, I got t-shirts, I also have hoodies because it is cold out here in these streets. It is officially hoodie season. But yeah, I look forward to just your support and coming around Social Soundtrack, and also staying tuned about upcoming virtual events we will be having, since we are not leaving this pandemic anytime soon.
My name is Kirsten Arazo, and I am a Mizzou graduate class of 2014. I am also the founder of Multinude. Multinude is a fashion accessories brand for melanated women. Prior to starting my company, it was very difficult for women of color to find ready-to-use nude or skin tone accessories. So I decided to do something about it and launch a brand that has products in 4 different colors of brown: brownie, hot chocolate, toffee, and butter cookie. The concept of ready-to-use nude or skin tone fashion wear is still new, so be sure to learn more and check us out on Instagram at Multinude, and then also check out our website where you can make your purchases at multinude.com.
My name is Sydney King, and I am a graduate of the class of 2012. I founded a nonprofit called iFly Youth, which is based out of the greater Washington, D.C. area. Our website is ifly-youth.org. You can also follow us on all social media platforms at iFly Youth. A little bit about the organization. So I founded the organization in 2017 just because I really saw that there was a lack of programming for girls of color, specifically middle school age, who wanted to travel. There are a lot of big companies, for-profit, some nonprofits out there that take youth on travel excursions, but there was really not many affordable options, especially for the demographic of students that I work with. And so after realizing that, I just decided to start the organization, and we are going into our 4th year now, which is super exciting. Just wanted to take the opportunity to let you all know that we would really appreciate if you took some time out to follow us on social media, but also if you are looking for a new organization to donate to, we're here. We can take those donations. No, but seriously, we would love your support. And also for those of you who do have businesses and are maybe thinking about ways to give back or partner with maybe some nonprofits, we're here. But yeah, I am super excited to just share this opportunity, and would love to connect with anybody, whether you're in the business, in the for-profit space, or for the nonprofit space. Thank you.
And so that's just one of the many ways that we want to be able to kick off the episode, to show some of the founders of companies who can be here and who can't be here, just to give another visual to put some of the faces to the names that we have seen on the list. So with that, we just want to make sure that we are keeping the communication open. Please keep it coming with the chat and Q&A. I believe we are working that throughout the program just to make sure that we're able to engage with everyone. So please just continuously keep the feedback going with us there. And so as that's happening and as we are doing that, another way that we're incentivizing things is to be able to have our housekeeping notes for what we're doing. So 2 things. If you are a student and you are here to get credits for attending the class, just wanted to give you a heads up right now that at the end of the session, there will be a QR code that will be displayed after the program is over for you to be able to use your phone to be able to get your credit and to go from there. So just a heads up now that the QR code is coming later, just in case you are looking for that. Also, we do have the chat working. And so we want to make sure that not only are you just being interactive because you want to, but of course, who doesn't love a good giveaway? So right now we have an exclusive BuyBlackMizzou box, which is this. And in it, weekly, we will give away a box of products from people on the Black-owned business list that we have. And so if you are engaging, we will randomly select a person to win something from here. And in this box, we have a few things. We have a melted mood candle from one of the business owners. And this is a hand-poured candle from Dallas, and it's Zen, eucalyptus, and mint. So that is a candle that you can win there. We also have, strategically, Mono's hair, the curl hydrator shampoo that's in the box. We have that. And we also have Mr. Suitable socks for you all. Keep one out there. And as a bonus, we have a tiger print mask. So how do you win this? It's very easy. All you have to do is just engage. So please make sure that you are putting things in the chat, engaging there to make sure that you are asking questions. And we will randomly select the winner at the end of this to win this special box. And then we will keep that going for the future boxes that we have. All right. So with that in mind, just background before we get started here, the name of this episode is Diverse Roots, Same Family Tree. And so where that comes from is that being Black or being a person of color is not a monolith. There are many different ways that we represent ourselves. There are many different avenues that we pursue business, and it is so many things, even though we are coming from similar backgrounds. And so each week we will partner with a student organization that kind of represents the story and the title of the episode. And for this one, we are connecting with NPHC. Now, NPHC is the National Panhellenic Council, and it is the council of historically Black Greek letter fraternities and sororities, 5 fraternities, 4 sororities, of which all of the people on this program are members of. So you'll see how that really connects here. And so we have those roots from Mizzou, and we have branched off into business. And so we're exploring what that concept looks like there. It is a way that we are all connected, we are all family, and we're excited to have a person who's leading the roundtable discussion of 3 of our businesses. So I'm extremely excited to welcome an amazing student leader that is on campus at the University of Missouri right now, a dynamic leader from an MKC organization, which she'll share, who is majoring in the School of Engineering, Information Technology. So if we can welcome, if we can use our, put some clap emojis in the chat and bring some energy right now for Tori Davey. He is going to be our roundtable host. How's it going, Tori?
I'm all right. How about you?
Doing well, doing well. I think now is the time that I'm passing the baton to you to take us into this. So I'm excited for the conversation you're going to have with the entrepreneurs, and thank you so much for leading us in on the premiere episode. I mean, you're kicking it off, so it's only right.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. I appreciate you inviting me out.
All right.
So to start off, though, introductions. My name is Tori Davey. Like you said, I'm a junior studying information technology with a minor in psychology and I'm from St. Louis as well. Like he said, I'm an MPHC member. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated by way of the Zeta Alpha chapter here in Mizzou. And I'm excited to be out here. So it's cool. But now I'd just like to introduce our panelists. So up first, we have Sydney King. If you'd like to come and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sydney King. I am from Chicago, Illinois, well, outside of Chicago, but I currently live in Washington, D.C., and I am a graduate of the class of 2012.
Nice. Next, we have Javon Adam Walker.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Javon Adams Walker. I'm originally from East St. Louis, Illinois, currently living in St. Louis, Missouri, U City area, graduating class of 2014.
Nice. And next we have Daniel Easterly.
Hello, everyone. Excited and happy to be here. Daniel Easterly, originally from Detroit, Michigan. Actually, a little from everywhere. Originally born in Kansas City, Missouri. Grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and I am now located in Dallas, Texas. That is where I reside. I graduated from University of Missouri in 2014 as well.
That's nice. That's nice. I'm glad we got a diverse cast here today. I'm actually from St. Louis City, unlike Javon. He's from East St. Louis, but it's same area. But yeah, let's get started with the questions though. So today's theme, like Derek said, is a diverse roots, same family tree. And when talking about roots, where we grew up is a huge place to start. So let's kick it off with where are you guys from? Again, just say it again. And then what's the biggest lesson your city taught you?
And I can start it off, or ladies first.
I can go. So yeah, I'm from south suburbs of Chicago, Country Club Hills. A lot of people from Country Club Hills go to Mizzou, I should say. But I would say where I'm from really taught me to be proud of who I am. My high school was predominantly Black. And so I think going to Mizzou was the first experience where I was surrounded around people who did not look like me. And so I think just where I'm from, I was proud to be Black because that's all that I knew. And I think that was one of the best things that I could have had, one of the best experiences growing up. And I feel like I've carried that throughout life.
I'll go next. Being from East St. Louis, Illinois, a lot of people, they don't have good things to say about East St. Louis. However, I do. And kind of, to follow what Sydney said, I'm proud to be from East St. Louis. I wear East St. Louis on my back. Everywhere I go, I let people know I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois, because, all the negative things that are said about East St. Louis, I try to, depict and say, hey, there are great people, good people who are doing things from East St. Louis, and it's not just the stereotypical things. So I think my city definitely taught me to be proud of where I am, and also to continue to give back to my city so that the kids in East St. Louis also are aware of what they can become and not be a product of their environment.
And for me, I'm from Detroit, Michigan, but as I mentioned, I traveled around a lot when I was growing up. So Detroit specifically has taught me how to be built for it tough, right? A lot of stuff is going on in Detroit, and similar to Javon and Sydney, right? You have to kind of tie up your bootstraps because Detroit is a rough city as well. I'm very proud of where I came from, but also because I had the ability to move around a lot when I was a kid, right? It also taught me the ability to adapt and be adaptable, right, in different situations. And I think that was something that I learned and was very valuable to me from traveling from city to city is be adaptable in everything that you do.
I love what you guys are saying. I definitely agree. I'm from St. Louis as well, like I said. But one of the things that I learned really is just you got to keep going no matter what anybody else says. And like Daniel said, really adapting to any situation that you could possibly be in, because in life, there are going to be a lot of things that happen that you might not know about. So definitely keeping going and keep, true to your foundations. But going off that though, so the foundational understanding of entrepreneurship, which is being in business for yourself, can sometimes come from examples we saw growing up. So did you guys have any entrepreneurs in your family or around you growing up? And what kind of influence did they have on you as your perspective of owning a business?
I did not have any entrepreneurs. My family is like all military, like literally my mom, all her brothers and sisters went to the military. So like, this is completely new. Like Google was like my best friend in learning like all things entrepreneurship, or just people that I've met from Mizzou, or like, just along the way. But no, I definitely didn't have anyone in my family.
It depends on how you define entrepreneurship. I would say my uncle was an entrepreneur, but not in the way that we all, kind of think of. But from that, he served some jail time. And I could remember when I was in the third grade when he got out. And he told me, I was like, where you been? Like, I didn't understand, at the time, where you been? Where you been? He's like, well, I did this. I went to jail, and you need to listen to your parents so that you don't end up like this. I have to, start my life over and this and that and the other. It's hard for me to find a job. So that type of entrepreneurship taught me what not to do, but other than that, I really didn't have any other guidance when it comes to doing entrepreneurship the good way. I just kind of learned on my own, and what I learned from the business school at Mizzou, that degree came in handy. So.
For me, growing up, I didn't have too many examples either. My father is a minister and my mother is a teacher. My brothers are really artistic. So when we were in high school, went to Cass Technical High School in Detroit, Michigan. We used to make highlight tapes for the people in the city of Detroit. I played football for the University of Missouri as well. And that's one of the things that I actually did. And kind of took that over from my second oldest brother when I was in high school, where we went around and bought cameras and literally went to games or hired some of our friends to record games for us. And we sat up for nights at a time, for hours at a time, and made highlight tapes and actually helped send over 150 plus student athletes to college during my time in high school. So in Detroit, there wasn't a lot of people getting recruited for football at the time. And that's something that really changed the dynamic of recruiting in the city of Detroit at the time as well. So I didn't have a lot of examples of entrepreneurship, but we kind of stumbled our way into entrepreneurship, if you will.
I love how, all of you guys didn't have I guess not real, but like a mainstream definition, like an entrepreneur around you, but you guys still found a way. And that's good that you guys are able to, overcome a lot of like the other stuff because other people might have, but, other people around them to show them directly right then what an entrepreneur doesn't do and stuff like that. But it's good that you guys are able to bounce off that and be a leader for somebody else who might come around you. And one thing I feel like that kind of draws us to is being in PHC, like being in these Greek-led organizations. I feel like, me personally, I'm a first generation NPHC member, myself and my family, but I just know that like going forward, it's good to lead others and stuff like that. But like I said, off NPHC, it's like being a part of those organizations. It's almost like running a business yourself. These are businesses and stuff like that. So what do you feel like some skills that you guys gain from being a part of these organizations? And also, could you guys say what orgs you're part of?
Yeah, so I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Epsilon Psi Chapter is where I pledged. But I would definitely say that it helped a lot. I was president when I was on campus. And so that gave me really like board experience in a nonprofit and in companies as well. Some companies you have a board and you have to meet and you have to figure out how the company or organization is going to be ran. And so those skills really transferred over. Additionally, when I started the organization, some of my sorority sisters were actually my board members as well, and they were integral in helping me get the organization off the ground. And so I would say just like those key connections, but also like we did a lot of work. We planned events, we raised money. It was a lot. We did financial audits. So all of those skills that I gained in college that seemed, maybe like I would only use them there, definitely transferred over.
I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Zeta Alpha Chapter, Tori's Pro Fight, and his club, his oldest club. One thing, so when I was in the chapter, we were at a time where social media was in its early stages, and we wanted to be able to use that to our advantage. So with that, with Instagram coming around in 2011, 2012, we began creating pages we already had a Twitter page and Facebook page, but the world became more visual. So with Instagram coming out, we knew that we need to become more innovative when it came to, Alpha Week events, and things of that nature. So we began creating probate videos, videos for our Alpha Week and things of that nature. And that just kind of correlated with me with my business profiles be like on Instagram, to where I'm able to reach a market of members in the National Panhellenic Council, as well as other brands that I'm working with, whether it's Def Jam Recordings or Essentia Water or whatever the case may be, because members of NPHC, they still are people too. So they're going to want to buy Essentia Water or Mountain Dew or whatever the case may be. So it just kind of helped me better advertise to my market.
So for me, I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I'm actually a fourth generation Kappa as well. My dad, my granddad, my great granddad actually are all in my fraternity as well, and actually my oldest brother also. For me, what being in a fraternity is really added value to me is just to be strong and get through the tough times of entrepreneurship, right? Because there's a lot of things that actually come with the territory of owning your own business outside of Eastwood Customs. I am affiliated with multiple businesses, from a makeup company to real estate. I'm also a realtor, and really is giving me the ability to connect with people that I know from college, help them buy homes, help them look nice, look their best, right? But I think it just gives you that determination to not stop, right? To be able to juggle going to school, right? At the same time, while being able to juggle playing football, at the same time, while being able to juggle owning your own business, right? I think without joining a fraternity, I wouldn't have those valuable skills of determination. And I think that's what being a part of a fraternity in college and what the fraternity really gave me.
Yeah, I definitely love how you guys are, you have used those skills. I'm actually in the NPHC office right now, and I see a lot of awards. So I'm pretty sure you guys were doing your thing while your time were here. And so yeah, Javon, though, your business, Profiles by Life, it specifically highlights and celebrates NPHC Greek life. So for those who don't know, though, what makes NPHC, like the community, so special in your opinion?
I think one thing that makes the NPHC community so special is that, one, of course, we have college chapters, but we also have graduate chapters. And, we don't stop representing our organizations in college. We're going to represent, what are we, 20, 30, 40, 50, 80, 90 years old. I've seen 80-year-old alphas with the hat, the shirt, the socks, the pants, like proud. I mean, he's been a member, 70 years of Alpha, So I think that's what makes NPHC so special. We like to represent our organizations to the highest ability. And also, I believe that outside of within our own fraternities and sororities, we're able to connect with one another, So for example, Derek Christian, he's in a different fraternity, but we're always in communication with one another, and it's just that, those bonds with other people in other organizations makes it special as well. And I think that goes a long way in the corporate world, socially, things of that nature.
That's nice. I definitely agree. So Sydney, to you. So you're working with the next generation of leaders through iFly Youth. And what are some key tools that you feel like they need to succeed that you learned so far?
So I think because our organization, we really focus on giving girls the opportunity to travel internationally. I think it's just like taking the limits off, because when you travel to a new country, like for me, it's just opens up your eyes, your mind, your heart to what you can do, and you can really learn from other people. So I think the biggest thing that we try to teach them is, I feel like kids, when they're younger, they have this fearlessness, but as you start to get older, you start to, with rejection or different things that may happen, you start to doubt yourself. And I think the best thing that we try to teach our girls is that, like, you are capable of any and everything. And the biggest thing that you have to do is try and just take that first step. And that's just super important for me, because I think as adults, we tend to overthink things and overcomplicate things. And we want to just make sure that we, you know, by exposing our girls to new countries and like new experiences at such a young age, they can see that like the limits are off for themselves.
I love that. I love that. I can definitely feel your passion for what you do through this. And Daniel, so designing custom suits, it means that paying attention to detail, really hearing what the client needs and what they might not say they might need. So what are some skills you feel like it would help somebody in your industry excel?
Good question. For me, I've had, before I started Eastwood Customs, I've had the opportunity to work alongside some of the best salespeople in the world. And some of the things that I've learned is about active listening, and a couple of techniques like spin, understanding someone's situation, their problem, their implied need, and then being able to tell them how this will pay off for them. Something that I learned in my industry is that a lot of times businesses stay afloat based on sales, right? And if you have sales skills, you're going to always be able to run your business, meet new clients, and be able to hear the things that they're not saying. If you can understand someone's problem so in depth to the point where they're telling you that they need your product, that means that you're putting yourself in a position as a trusted advisor. And with my business at Eastwood Customs, that's what we do. We're a trusted advisor in making our clients look spectacular. We make suits that are made to fit and born to stand out. And we want anyone who wears our suits to stand out in any field that you enter in. And ultimately, the skills that you are needing in any industry are all related to sales, because most industries are a people industry, right? And you're talking to someone else, you're understanding what somebody else's needs, and you're paying attention in a way that makes them value you. And I believe that sales skills are the skills that you would need to really be successful. And also, one other tidbit of information is, if you are looking to start your own business, and even with attention to detail, the whole nine with Eastwood Customs, it's very important to know that you should always stick to an industry. If you're working in corporate America, stick to an industry that is along with your business, that gives you the skills that can add to your own business as well. So just an additional thing.
Yeah, I like how those are very, like, even though they're applicable to your industry, is also very transferable to a lot of different industries as well. So, but I like to go back to kind of something of what Sydney was talking about with something called imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is defined as feeling like a fraud or doubting your abilities and feel like you're not the best person for the position. So have you guys dealt with imposter syndrome in your like entrepreneur career, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing thing. It's definitely something like, it's just because like, I feel like in entrepreneurship, you're always learning, and there's always something that you don't know or something that you have to learn. And I think, although like you do have an expertise in the area, sometimes you doubt that you're really capable of it. And I find that with myself a lot, especially because I'm kind of young to be in the like nonprofit founder space. And I'm also a Black woman, which the nonprofit space is very white. And so I think those things sometimes have me thinking like, oh, am I really qualified for this? But like, we've been doing this for 4 years, and like, we don't plan to stop anytime soon. And so I think the way that I combat that is by just like reminding myself of our accomplishments, and like knowing that like I have a fully filled resume, and it's not just by surprise. Like, you know, it's not just a mistake that I have that resume. I worked very hard for those things. And then also like having a good team around you to remind you as well that like you are putting in the work, and they're there to support you and like help you remember like why you started. I think that's super important too with dealing with imposter syndrome.
Yeah, imposter syndrome is real. I know there have been a couple times where I've, doubted myself and my abilities. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I still in this? But you just got to continue to evolve and figure out what, for me in particular, what people like. You always have to ensure that, you're always, like for me, for example, I'm always watching the news, seeing what's going on so that I can inform who's ever following my page, or whenever homecoming season is around, reaching out to universities to see if they need a host or an MC or wherever the case may be. So just believing in yourself and continue pushing forward.
And I believe I deal with it every day, right? Just piggybacking off of what Javon mentioned. It's hard when you're in an industry where it's always changing. Fashion is always changing, right? So you'll see somebody make something and yours is like, "Woo! I need to I need to come out with that tomorrow. I need to make that tomorrow." So it's kind of one of those things where again, you're constantly learning. You're constantly trying to find your own identity while running your business and run it the way that you need to run it, because there's a blueprint, right? But there's only one you. And I think that's the thing that we all bring to our own businesses, right? Is no one can be us. And that's the difference maker, is if you can be you in your business, and it takes time, right? It takes time. And shoot, I'm in the early stages of a lot of things myself, to where over time I know and I trust, right, that I'll be exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm not going to have to worry about anybody else's thing that they bring to the table. But I'm going to always be able to look back and say, hey, this is where I started, and this is where I'm going, and this is where I am now. So the way we deal with imposter syndrome is understanding the overall mission and overall vision for your business, and really settling into who you are as an individual.
Yeah, I definitely feel all of what you guys are saying. I feel like throughout my life, I've faced imposter syndrome more than a few times, but I feel like throughout the positions that I've got so far, I've achieved and I've worked for, I feel like I've done pretty well with them. And, those around me would like to say the same. So I feel like you said, Daniel, I started one place and I've got here and look what I've done so far. So that helps to, motivate myself or reassure myself that the path I'm on, is the right path and I'm doing well. And I feel like you guys are also doing well yourselves. So I appreciate that. So I think we'll go with one of the last questions. What would you say was your proudest moment as being an entrepreneur?
Go ahead,
Oh.
Sid.
Okay. I would say when we took our first trip. So when I initially had this idea to start iFly, it was literally that, just an idea. But when we, it took, I guess, a year to get it off the ground, but like partnering with the school and then being able to take students to Costa Rica for the first time and just seeing like their expressions, and being able to travel to another country, but through their eyes, like that was honestly my proudest impact. And I don't cry, y'all, but like at the closing dinner, I was like bawling. So it was definitely a moment that made me so happy.
So we all know Mizzou is the #1 J school in America, right? I graduated with my business degree, but a lot of people don't know this. I started off in broadcast journalism, and I've always had a feeling to interview and talk to people and be on TV and things of that nature. I guess one of the proudest things, I'm proud of is that I've been able to interview some people on my podcast. The Profiles Be Like podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google. If you're listening, if you like podcasts, go check it out. And I've been able to, come in contact with so many people. I've came in contact with people I watched growing up. John Marshall Jones, who's the dad from Smart Guy. If any of you all watch the Disney Channel, he's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. Jay Harris on ESPN, the news anchor on ESPN. He's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Just being able to interview people like this, I would definitely say is one of the proudest moments of my entrepreneurship thus far.
One of the proudest memories that I have of entrepreneurship is probably my first failure. I say that only because it taught me so much, to where it gave me the ability to really bounce back like 10 times harder. And I think a lot of people celebrate their successes, but sometimes you have to celebrate the failures that taught you the most in entrepreneurship as well. And my first time ever trying to customize a suit for someone, I fell flat on my face, to be honest. I didn't know, really, I wore suits all my life, but when it came to actually doing this in person, I feel like it didn't go the way I expected. And from that point forward, in a lot of my businesses, I believe I just focused on the failures to motivate me. I focused on the failures to teach me. And those things make me proud because I can, again, say that this is where I came from, right? This is where I started. And I celebrate my failures, right? Just because even in sales, you start to realize that a lot of people can tell you yes, but you learn more from the people who tell you no. And I've learned a lot from the people that tell me no, because all it did was teach me how to get a yes. And I celebrate those things every chance I get because I know that I'm a little bit closer to getting a yes.
I appreciate those moments. I really, even though, I'm younger than all you guys and I haven't been with you all your lives, I can tell that you guys have come from a long way, and you're definitely making a lot of strides for success. And I look forward to seeing where you guys go from here on out. But that was pretty much our last question for the day for this panel. If you guys maybe want to plug your contacts or your pages or something like that real quick, we can do that. But
okay, yeah, I can also put it in the chat, but our website is www.ifly-youth.org, and then we're also on social media platforms at iflyyouth.
Sorry, I'm having some work done in my basement, and I told him from 5 to 6 don't be doing any sawing or something. So y'all might hear him sawing. You can follow us on social media at ProFightsBeLike. You might catch a laugh or two if you get some of the jokes. That's everywhere. ProFightsBeLike, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also ProFightsBeLike.com is the website. And PBL podcast, ProFightsBeLike podcast. You can find that on our website as well as our animation series on YouTube. All right, that's it.
So for me, Daniel Easterly, again, Eastwood Customs is the Instagram page. So go ahead and follow us. We also are doing a special for anyone who attended this meeting today. We're giving you guys 50% off of any suit selection or custom suit that you would like. So we do custom suits, custom shirts, custom peacoats, the whole nine, right? So what we're going to do is take care of you guys to make sure you're looking good, looking sharp, right? I see you, Tori. You look sharp, brother. You're really handsome young man. So we'll take care of you guys. The website also is www.eastwoodcustom without the s.com, and I'll put that in the chat just to make sure we get the right one. But please look up the IG, book a consultation, mention that you were on this video call, and we'll get you guys taken care of.
great. Thanks, you guys. Appreciate your plugs and also coming out today. You guys gave great answers, actually, inspired me, even though I'm not a traditional entrepreneur myself. But now, Derek, would you like to? Okay. And now I just want to say a few things. Like I said, I'm not exactly an entrepreneur myself, but this very, very much so motivated me in pretty much going back to going forward with my passions. I'm an IT major. People probably think that's like a 9-to-5 desk job, but I don't really want to do that, And I was worried that would I have to do that, but after hearing how you guys, overcame a lot of things and really doing much success right now, I feel like I can definitely just keep going away from my passions and then do what I want to do. So thank you guys for once again. And Derek, if you'd like to take over now.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Tori, you did an amazing job being the roundtable host. We really appreciate you. Thank you for your time. We'll definitely connect soon. I know it was great being MPHC president back when I was at Mizzou. So that is great. It's great hearing the stories from everyone, and sounds like I will be shopping at Eastwood Customs tonight. Added that to my to-do list. But thank you for all the questions and for that time. We are excited to welcome our next guest, a feature conversation with her. I am honored to know and be connected to Monica. I'm just going to let you all know a little bit about her before we welcome her in. Her name is Monica Stevens. She is known as Mo Knows Hair, and she is a licensed cosmetologist, content creator, educator, product innovator, focused on healthy hair, and so many other things that if I went down the list, we could really be, feature all of it in our series. She was born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri, and has always had a natural talent for styling, hair, and maintenance. To enhance her natural skill, she earned her cosmetology certification from Aveda Institute, New York, on full scholarship from the brand, and later became Sally Beauty's texture stylist and expert. To help everyone have the best version of their textured hair, Monica created the Mo Knows Hair Curl Collection, which I showed you a little bit earlier in this episode, a line of salon quality products formulated with essential oils, botanicals, and proteins. So Monica also serves as an educator and content creator for Aveda's Textures team and training current and future stylists on all things textured hair care. So in addition to the hair care, Monica is also a positive influence in the beauty community by providing insight on entrepreneurship and digital influence, which we are grateful to get some of it today. And so I would like you to please join me in welcoming with emojis in the chat and all the other energy that you all have. Please welcome Monica Stevens. Hello, Monica. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, Derek, how are you? Hi, everybody out there listening. Thank you for taking time out to come be with us today.
Yes. No, we love it. And the questions are rolling in and we have so many of them. And I feel like we might as well just even start there with the conversation. I know we have one from Sydney, which I mentioned where you were from, Kansas City, Missouri. She says, or they say, how has your background, hometown life helped you become who you are today? That's a great place to start.
Kansas City is for hustlers. That's the saying. I'm from the town. That's what we do. We start businesses. We help communities. We see it all around us. Like thinking about how many people I know that own businesses in all generations, from restaurant to service, all kinds of stuff. So I think you just see it so much around you that you want to make sure that you're using your gifts to be, good to your community and putting good things back into the world.
Yes. So you said that you saw it all around you, which is incredible to see. Sometimes people have the perspective and sometimes they don't. So I guess with that, would you say, did you choose entrepreneurship or did entrepreneurship choose you?
It chose me. I graduated from Mizzou in 2004, College of Business Marketing, went straight into corporate America. So I was doing PR and comm, and then I went to higher ed. I was doing branding, advertising, and I started the blog because I needed some beauty experience because I wanted to switch to beauty, and beauty companies won't hire you for higher up positions unless you have beauty experience. I didn't have that. I had all of the other pieces. So I was like, okay, I'll just start a brand and it can go on my resume because I know what I'm doing. They need proof. Fine, I'll give you a receipt. Started Mo Knows Hair, grew that platform, grew that audience in my name with my own resources, without advertising, without investment elsewhere. And so I figured I would do that for a while and then, go on back and apply for me an executive marketing job in beauty. And it turns out I was like, well, actually, this is going well. So let's keep going with this because I'm still able to partner with companies that I was applying for. It's like companies I was applying for started to send me messages to work with me that I'm like, y'all know y'all didn't return my resume, right, though, when I applied for a job. So yeah, I kind of got there on the back door. I started with one thought in mind and then realized like there's much more I can do here.
Yeah, and that's powerful where, doors that you were knocking on or thinking about knocking on ultimately through your work and your effort and you believing in yourself and betting on yourself allowed them to knock on your door to be able to access that a different way.
Yep.
I love that. And so what do you think, and I know you're talking about building your key customer base, and I know a lot of people are thinking about that. Like, what steps were instrumental in you creating your key consumer base that really, fueled, your success and your visibility in the beauty space?
I feel like you have to serve people that are in alignment with you. So you can only be authentic when you are promoting or creating things that you actually believe are true, that you would do, that you would follow, that you wouldn't, you would want your mama and them to be okay purchasing or doing. So for me, I want to promote something in this space that may not always be the most popular thing, but I know it's the helpful thing. It's the right thing. I'm not selling you magic. I am selling you real information based on science, experience, from all the years of my life doing my own hair and other people's hair. I've been doing other people's hair since I was 10. So I'm not here to gimmick you and game you. And me creating my brand around just what I would do and what I recommend to people I love, I think makes a difference. Like, it's hard to target an audience if you don't have anything in common with them. Because how do you know what they're looking for if you aren't a consumer of what you're creating?
Yeah, and that's a fair point too. And I think a lot of people, some of which are in our audience are college students and trying to figure out, should they explore entrepreneurship and what they're interested in. It sounds like you're saying about what you're interested in, what you're connected to is a good place to start when thinking about what you want to create your brand and your product around.
Absolutely. You want to make sure that your business is something that you actually understand and know, because the industry, the marketplace will move around and you can't pivot if you're faking like you know something you don't, or if you're not being authentic to what it is you say you do. If you find yourself in a position where you need to stop selling something and start selling something else, or whatever may happen, it's hard to pivot when you're faking it. Like, you're not going to know what to do next. And it's going to be hard to build multiple streams of income, because that's important too, because some parts of your business may not be as fruitful in certain seasons where other things can be. I think this pandemic has been a good example of that for all businesses. Like, if you didn't have some other things to bring money in, or you couldn't pivot, you can find yourself pretty stuck or in a bad position.
Yes. And that's the thing. I think that we've all experienced that. And actually that brings up a good question from Nick, who put that in the question Q&A portion. He says, how has COVID affected your business, and how have you dealt with those challenges? That's a great question, Nick.
Absolutely. COVID definitely resulted in me seeing lower sales. I think all brands, beauty brands, everything saw that, because with the shutdown, my products are in retail and online at Sally Beauty. So when all 2,800, 3,000 Sally Beauty stores had to close, guess what people couldn't go do? Buy things off the shelf from me. So yes, you could buy things online, but we all know what happened last year when everybody had to start living online. UPS and FedEx and them imploded. They were not prepared to deal with that traffic. So, it's some storms you just have to wait out. There was nothing I could do to change the environment. You just have to wait it out. You have to wait for the environment for time to move forward. So I feel like things that are out of my hands, I just feel like, okay, I've planned for this financially. And I also had other parts of my business that were still making money, influencer wise, passive income from other things that I do. I still had some consulting contracts going on in the background. So everything didn't come to a screeching halt, but that definitely did. So I think having multiple pieces of my business helped that. Plus, I got behind on stuff. I'm still formulating products that I hoped would be going on shelves like now. Well, they're a year behind because of COVID. So I just have to deal with it. And, it'll work out. It'll be fine. I refuse to be worried about things that I cannot control.
Yes. Flexibility. I feel like that is one of the tools in the toolkit of entrepreneurship. I mean, 2020 taught that taught us that lesson for sure. But in entrepreneurship, it is about being flexible and being nimble. So that's a huge part of it. And I mean, you're such an expert, and especially in the hair care realm, and that is an area in which a lot of women of color, specifically Black women, are finding success. And I just wonder if you can shed some light on the beauty industry and how that environment is, knowing that there are successful women of color that are really championing their brands. Like, can you shed a little bit of light about like that environment for people who are tuning in?
As far as like getting into the space, or what it feels like to be in it?
Both, actually, because we have a question from Ariana Boyd, who is interested in making her own product. So she's kind of interested in getting into that space. And then I'm also wondering, and she's also from KC too. So hello, Ariana from the town. And then, yeah, so if you talk about like getting into it and then also what it's like being in there, that would be great, because that kind of hits both of those pieces.
Okay, so as far as getting into the space, I always tell people there's room for you. If you have something good, there's room for you. And sometimes we'll think like, oh, this is too saturated. Oh, you can't have this many things. If you want to know how many things can exist in a space, look at all the stuff in the bread aisle. How many ways can you make bread? But how many brands of bread are there in your grocery store? It's a whole aisle worth. So it's not necessarily about what you make, it's what your story is behind it. So, I would encourage you to look for something that you can solve for a group of people. And a lot of times your inspiration might come from your own struggles with solving a problem you have, and you created something for it. But I think you'll get your best solution by looking at it that way, that there is room for you. If your gifts lie there, they will make room for you. That's, very much a spiritual gift kind of way of thinking about yourself. As far as what it feels like to be in this space, it is very rewarding and it is very taxing. It is very exhausting. I never want people to get the impression that the things you see on social media, the posts you see on Instagram are somehow fully representative of my entrepreneurial existence. They are highlight reels. They are moments I wish for you to see. There are a lot of days in here where there's some cussing and screaming and hollering, just out loud to get it out my system. There are some days where I'm like, why am I bothering myself with this? And you want to throw it out the window. It's not pretty, and it's not going to be pretty. But I think when you're operating on purpose and you have a goal in mind, you find something that makes you keep pushing at it and keep going after it, even on the days where you're just like over it. And sometimes you need a break. Sometimes you need to take a step back. But I feel like because there are so many more Black women coming into the space, that you kind of can get friends there. It's like, hey girl, you have a product line too, or you're a stylist like me. And it's kind of like you find your network. Because when you work for yourself, you don't have coworkers, you are staff. So you got to find other people that at least have some kind of shared experience with you, that gives you a place to kind of, just get things out and talk about things, and also to connect you to stuff. Sometimes you might need help figuring something out, like, you know what, I need a photographer that can do this, or I need something for this packaging. Let me ask such and such. So it gives you, network there. And in my experience, for the women that I have had opportunity to break bread with, I've, always willing to help, always wanting to, they will answer the phone kind of thing. So it's a good experience on the people front.
It all comes full circle. Yeah, no, I love that. So next time that I'm in the store, hamburger buns, hot dog buns, muffins, just all of the breads. It's true.
Bread everywhere.
Yes. There's bread to be made if you are fulfilling a need for some people. So we love that point about it. And so let's talk about travel a little bit, because research shows that the top 5 cities for Black-owned businesses are number 4, Washington, D.C., number 3, Memphis, Tennessee, number 2, Montgomery, Alabama, and number 1, Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm wondering, what, with living in KC, in New York, in Atlanta, like what guided you to certain places in your pursuit, and how much of that was driven by business?
Going to New York was definitely I need to expand in the beauty space, and that's where the beauty industry mostly lies. That's where the majority, your big boys, your Estee Lauder, your L'Oreal, your headquarters, that all those large corporate entities, most of them are in New York. So it's like, if you're trying to get the most bang for your time, where do you go to get in front of people? And, you know, I'm very old school with, I don't rely on digital touch points to give me network with people. I want to talk to you all like on the phone, in person, something like that. Because when, you know, coming through school, I graduated before Facebook even got to Mizzou. We didn't have social media, okay? So you had to actually go talk to people. You had to be able to be in a space and work through a room and hold your ground. Like you couldn't just rely on hiding behind a keyboard. So that's kind of the mentality I come up with. Like, I will put myself in front of you. I will just keep showing up, and you are going to have a hard time denying me because I'm just going to keep showing up. So I think figuring out what's best for you. I know that we talk a lot about our businesses are highly digital. Like, technically I could live anywhere, right? I could still conduct business, but I also think about other things like, where's camaraderie available to me with other people that have similar careers to mine where I can have in-person experiences. Having access to an airport that goes everywhere very easily, that matters. Because I mean, well, before the pandemic, you know, I was in the air 2 and 3 times a month. So I got to get around. That's important to me. You know, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I feel like if you have to move to have better access to opportunity, you should try to do that if it's within your means to do so. You absolutely should take that chance. The world is very small to live in one place forever.
No,
the world ain't as big as you feel like it is. Like, the world is so much smaller than you think. When you start moving around, you realize, like, I can figure out how to live here. I can do it.
Yeah, especially when you go there and you see things that you're familiar with in your own community. I went to South Africa. I went to one of my favorite places, Cape Town, South Africa. There was Zara there. There were all these stores that I was used to. It's like I'm using Uber to get around. It's like you think that you're going somewhere and it's about to be this otherworldly experience. And you're like, no, my place here, different culture, different, and that makes it more real. Like you're saying, we're more connected than we think that we are.
Yeah, technology has shrunk the world. Like, we're all doing a lot of the same things now.
Yeah, and speaking of the city, Camden has a question. He says, I'm not from a big city like KC, so how can I best make connections in the business world to further my career?
Look for things to go to and plan to travel. So if there are important conferences or trade shows or events that are like heavy hitting kind of things, every industry has them, try to go to those things. If you can budget for them, you have the funds available, book that flight, buy that ticket to that show, and go and talk to people. Go and be in the space with people, because the deals happen over cocktails. The deals happen in passing while talking to someone. Like, it's hard to jump in somebody's email and be like, hey, you want to work with me? Who are you? But hey, I met you at such and such. We had a great conversation, following up with you. All of a sudden, your message is going to get answered. And I know that generationally, I may sound very old compared to how things are done with younger generations, but there's just so much more to be said about people knowing who you are face to face and not just via email or DM.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, even coming from a different time, you clearly got the energy and the understanding with, you know, over 240K followers on Instagram alone. It's clear that you were able to jump in, manage things, and to be able to excel. And, you know, we're 100% proud of your success and beyond, being exclusive in Sally Beauty and whatnot. So I know we just want to get into some of the key pieces before kind of wrapping up that really kind of students can take away with. So what piece of advice would you give college graduates who want to become entrepreneurs?
Unless you have a trust fund or someone has left you a chunk of money, go ahead and get that full-time job with your degree. Work, save some of that money and let that be seed for your business. It gives you time to grow up a little bit. I know you think you grown, but boy, will you find out how grown you're not when you have to start fully adulting. It's the ghetto, okay? And you need to get prepared and you need time to adjust. It also gives you an opportunity to have some good benefits, baby. Healthcare, paid leave, things that as an entrepreneur, I pay for my healthcare 100%. Okay, there's no employer plan here. Okay, I don't get paid time off. If I don't work, I just don't get paid. That's how that goes. If I don't do the work, I don't get paid. So it gives you time to adjust into adulting and gives you an opportunity to hopefully not be so poor. Going into business with zero money is going to be very stressful. It is going to be an uphill battle. So if you can do things to mitigate that risk, you should. I worked my full-time job. I didn't quit my full-time job until a year and a half into me being an influencer. And that was after I was able to replace my job's income with the influencer money. Then it was like, okay, but I still worked my 40-hour-a-week job and I just saved all that money because I wasn't living with it. So I would say, you know, if you can get that job working for someone else, do that. It also gives you an opportunity to just learn and apply the things you learned in school. Reading stuff in a book is different than doing it at an actual company in an actual real way that's attached to some bottom line thing. It's a different experience. And, you know, I would just say, you know, stack your coin, save your coin, and then do your planning, you know, do your research, make sure that you're scouting out all the things that you don't know how to do, skills that you're going to have to pay for. Legal is something a lot of people don't budget for. Marketing, got a budget for that. Accounting, got a budget for that. So when you're thinking about starting your business, it's not just buying the materials you need to make your Zoom or Wham Wham. You have to there's a whole lot of other moving pieces. You're going to need legal support. You have to trademark things. You have to file things properly. Lawyers only speak lawyer. So you need somebody that can do that for you. But those people cost money. They wish to be paid for their time. So jumping in head first, I am never going to tell you to just go out here and throw your hat in the air and be like, yay, I'm a business owner. Do you have money saved? Do you have an actual plan? And do you have a cushion or something to fall back on if everything goes awry?
Very valuable to hear, because a lot of people think that you can sometimes just jump head first and, you know, figure it out on the way down. But, you know, you talking about the benefit of a bridge system is something that can happen. That's incredible. What we wanted to do too is to make sure, I know just as a touch point for people out there, the Professional Edge QR code is actually on the screen right now to make sure that you're taking that picture to get the credit for attending the class as well. We want to make sure that you have that access to it as we are continuing with a couple of these questions, just to make sure that we get people in. We got a lot of good questions coming up, and we want to make sure that we're able to answer it while we have the time here. So that's happening at the same time too. But we got a great question from Dante, who asked, what sacrifices have you had to make in your life in order to be a successful entrepreneur? The hard-hitting questions.
I feel like I hate to call it a sacrifice per se, but the thing I've had to accept is that my desire for privacy is more limited now. I'm not behind the scenes anymore. I am the face of my brand. So I'm interacting with a lot of strangers every day by way of comments on social media, YouTube comments, when I go to events and stuff. So giving up, I guess, kind of like just being able to have kind of like an anonymous private life where only your friends and family know you. I feel like that's the only thing where sometimes it can be a little overwhelming, but I don't want to call it a sacrifice because it's been worth figuring out and doing.
Mm-hmm. More of a trade, because you're experiencing success and you're getting that recognition. It naturally comes where people are interested in you, and you are your brand too. So there's a certain level of, yourself that's out there that's a part of it. So it's not as, private as you want to be, but it's something that comes along with success, which is a great thing. But like you're saying, it's the balance of it, what you're familiar with, and also, what you potentially want, but also what comes at the success of all the work that you're putting into it at the same time too.
Yeah, I'll never get used to just minding my business in a store and somebody tapping me on the shoulder or Mo across the store. Like that is going to always feel weird, I'm sure.
Like, hair? Mo knows hair?
You're you.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. So then just to make it real, I just have just two other additional questions just to tie it all back in. Dan asks, are there any organizations, groups, entrepreneurship for people of color that you recommend for people?
You know what? I don't feel like I'm a part of any like overarching national organizations. I feel like I pay attention to stuff in my specific industry. Like following certain brands and certain people and people who are, I guess, addressing things from a media perspective. So I kind of look at it that way. I feel like I follow a lot of entrepreneurs online. Like I see what they post and see their stories and have conversation with them. So I feel like finding people that are in your space directly has more value than to just go after general things like those big like this is entrepreneurship. Yeah, but it's going to be highly different depending on what kind of business you're doing. So I would say, look for stuff in your industry specifically. I think that's more helpful.
Yeah. And people who are, telling you the right piece of advice. I know there are a lot of Instagram accounts that can get people tripped up. I know I saw one yesterday about finance that was like, in your 20s and in your 20s, you should save $8,000 a month as one of the 5 steps to be able to do. And I was like, I'm sorry, what, save $8,000 a month in your 20s? I don't think that's realistic advice that we're giving people. But again, we can get caught up in worlds of access to information that we think, is something in holding ourselves to standard that are unrealistic, even for people like in that case outside of your 20s. So really being able to pay attention to the right sources that are empowering us for what we could do and not making us feel that we're behind a ball that isn't really realistic for us in the first place. So the sources. You gotta
vet your information. Like whenever you're looking at those accounts that don't have a readily available face, you need to figure out who's running that account before you start trying to take advice from it. Like who's putting this stuff up here? Who is this person and what is their credential here? What is their experience here? So yeah, you kind of have to not get caught up in that kind of advice that makes you feel like you're doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. That is not going to help you.
Yes. Yep. And then just talking about, just for people who may not be entrepreneurs, we want to talk about what should companies who work with entrepreneurs keep in mind. So, you've had many partnerships across the board. Even right now, you have this Essence and Pine Sol partnership with 100K for Black women entrepreneurs for people who are able to sign up. So it's important, we can tell it's important for you to uplift your community, specifically Black women, specifically to be able to champion all of these things. So when working with different brands, what should other people, not even just companies, what should other people keep in mind when working with entrepreneurs to make us all better support each other when we're thinking about how we all interact together as a community?
Mm-hmm. I think the first thing you want to make sure is that what you are wanting to partner with is actually in alignment and authentic and not just based on numbers. Like don't just look at my follower count and say, oh, she has a large audience. Let me see if she'll promote this with me. And it's something that's like, what does this have to do with me? Like, why? This is so far left. This has nothing to do with what I do. So you want to partner with people that are, in alignment with what your brand mission and stuff like that is. And also when you're approaching people, my inbox is always flooded, all of them, my YouTube comments, Instagram comments, Facebook, email, and I got it coming from like things that make me money and people asking for information. So If you send me a highly generic email and say, hey, would love to collab with you, get back to me, babes, I ain't got the time. You got to tell me what you want, and you got to be specific. If you're putting it off on the person you want to collaborate with to come up with the collaboration, you're probably not going to get a response back, because I just need to use all my brain juice for all these things on my to-do list. I can't sit here and make up a marketing strategy for what you want to do with me when I don't know who you are and you're emailing me nothing specific. So you have to be intentional when you're approaching people. What is it that you want to collaborate on? Have you thought about budget? Have you thought about what time it's going to take? What are the resources needed? Give it an actual pitch. And there's all kinds of resources online to look up how to pitch an idea and templates you can use to kind of flush out your thoughts. But yeah, popping up in people's DMs and emails on some, hey, love what you do. Let's collaborate. Okay, I have 100 more emails to check. I can't. I don't know what you want, and this is not going to get answered right now because I just.
Yeah, well, you do well with it, because I mean it's a lot to balance, and that's one thing that the generation is concerned about too, is mental health and keeping all of those balanced. So as part of your advice, what would you give as advice for what do you do to maintain a sense of positive mental health for yourself, and what kind of tips would you share for people that are even students who are balancing a lot of different things and just trying to figure it out? What steps do you take, and what kind of are your thoughts about how to preserve that mental health in the space of business and life as you continue to move forward in all of your success?
I try to make sure I plan for time off, like try to give myself a weekend. It may not be like a full 2 days, but try to be like, okay, I'm not doing anything on the computer with this business on Sunday. I just want to do what I want to do. I always have to check social media and check things, but as far as like hours of time into it, try to give myself time off. Something else is having friends that I can actually talk to that are not doing what I'm doing. So it's like we get forced to talk about something that's not my business because they're not in my space. So we can talk about things outside of hair and beauty and entrepreneurship. So I think it's good to have a circle of people that are, you have things in common with as far as business, but you also need friends that are just like, they don't do what you do. So the conversation, you have to like, let it mentally go for a while. You have to get out of there. Those are the things I feel like help me the most. And sometimes I just need to put the phone down, shut things down sometimes, like, and say, I'm done for today. I don't have anything left for this. I'm starting to get grouchy. I'm starting to get irritated. I need a break. And just acknowledging that and knowing that whatever you're doing, it'll still be there tomorrow. It will be fine. It will be fine. You aren't going to be able to do well if you are a scattered mess. So.
Yes, a quality reminder that we must take care of ourselves. That is incredible. And we're talking about healthy everything, healthy hair, healthy mind, healthy body, healthy soul. So, thank you for all of that and all of the insight. Is there any parting words or, quotes or information that you would like people to walk away with after just being filled up with the amount of possibilities that they are able to tackle on as an entrepreneur, as a student currently at Mizzou?
Enjoy your time at Mizzou. Oh gosh, that was such a good time. Woo! That was a good 4 years. I would love to go back. It's like parts of your life where like, I would do that again. I would totally do that again. Enjoy that time. It goes by so fast. And you get out into the world and it gets harder and harder to see your friends because everybody starts scattering all over the country. And, take everything you can from the experience, learn as much as you can, connect as much as you can, because the people that will help you the most are going to probably be a lot of those people you met at school. Like the majority of my circle are Mizzou people. Like that's like to this day, if anything I need, I know somebody from Mizzou I can go get it from. My lawyer, my legal counsel, she a Mizzou law grad. It's like, you always going to be able to find what you need. So enjoy the experience, take it to heart, do your planning, do your work. The success you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. There are no shortcuts. Nobody's going to do your work for you. You have to build your own plane while you fly it. None of us are exempt. My plane's still getting maintenance done. Nobody's going to do it for you. So buckle up, keep your mind level, keep your spirits high, keep good people around you, and, follow what your intuition and your gut tells you to do. Just be authentic and be real about it. Do it with integrity.
Cool. That's an amazing note to end on. It's in the work that you're avoiding. That's something that we can all be reminded of. That success is in the work that you're avoiding.
Yep, every time.
Nice. Well, can you just share your information and how people can stay in contact with you? I know we have a bunch of people who would love to hear from you and continue the conversation, or just continue to follow your success. So can you share that information with everyone?
Yes, I am at monoshair.com. All of my social medias are Monos Hair, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. That's how you will find me across these here internet streets. So I hope you all will check out my channel, Instagram, stuff like that, and hope to be able to help you all as you keep going forward, and good luck to everybody finishing out this semester.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. It is an honor to have you again. I remember watching the success as it bloomed, and just the way that you continuously reach back, connect with people, and just continuously be a representation of just powerful people in general, Monica, and just, especially, let alone Mizzou alumni, and just all the emphasis that you have on being great. I think it's anytime that we can get a chance to hear that and just share that and just be in the same room with that is amazing. So thank you so much for all that you do. Congratulations on all of your success. And I will make sure that I continuously use the products, because my wife and I really do use those. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that. You ain't doing too bad yourself out here, sir. I am proud of you as well.
No, thank you. And then hopefully Alex Garner said, how often do you guys get a chance to make it back to Columbia? Maybe we'll be able to make it back to Columbia for a homecoming or something like that. So we'll have to see about that, Alex.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. Are they doing, is there homecoming this year? Because pandemic is still pandemicing.
Yeah, the way that we're in the panorama, we're gonna it's a whole panini in the bread aisle with the buns and all that. We got to figure that out. We'll have to stay tuned on that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was great seeing you. Thank you. We really appreciate everyone for being with us today. We just wanted to have a couple of quick notes. Again, thank you for being with us on the premiere episode of the BuyBlackMizzou series. We have 2 more episodes coming up. We have mystery guests that we are going to unveil soon. So we want to just ask you to please pay attention to the social media sites for Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Noir Mizzou, Mr. Suitable, and the Mizzou Black Alumni Network. Stay tuned for who is going to be the winners of that. And also, we are going to randomly select a winner for the BuyBlackMizzou box for those who stuck around. Greatly appreciate that. Actually, do we have Monica was, to tie it all back up together, Monica was born, she is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the Delta Tau chapter at the University of Missouri. AKAs were founded in 1908. So the random number that we are going to select for the participants of who is going to win the box is going to be the number 19. So the 19th person that we see, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, we have Jack Powers. You are the winner of our BuyBlackMizzou box. Jack Powers, we can give him a round of applause. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating in the discussion. We will make sure that we connect with you to be able to mail this box to you, which has the product from Mo Monica Mono's hair that we just talked about, Melted Mood candles, some Mr. Suitable socks, and a tiger mask that we have. So once again, we just wanted to say thank you all for being a part of this. Thank you so much to the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation with the Mizzou School of Business. Thank you to Black Mizzou Alumni. Thank you to just Mr. Suitable, you know, is in there too. And we hope that you continue with us on this journey. Each episode builds on the last one, so it's not the same information that you will get. You will get to see another cast of amazing entrepreneurs. We hope that you are inspired, and we just leave you with the idea that whether you want to be in entrepreneurship or not, entrepreneurship ideals apply to every part in your life. So make sure that you are answering the call on your life to please make sure that you are staying in tune with problems and how to be a problem solver, and that you are being flexible and making it work. Do not change the destination, change the path to get there. And we hope to see you on the other side, successful as you want to be. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will be in touch soon. Stay tuned for episode 2.